All right. TGI Friday, Saturday morning. Apologize. It was a very late evening last night. Didn't want to put the video out super late, so figured I'd do it today. Number one, we had an officer shot a couple nights ago. I could tell you, I'm happy to report that Officer Ballesteros will be released from the hospital more than likely tomorrow, but possibly even today after another CT scan. Yesterday's came back good. After a second one, they're going to be talking about letting her go home. She was up and walking yesterday. I was there a couple days ago, the morning after she was shot, and I could tell you it was an honor and a privilege to be in the room to facilitate a video call between Carlos Yanez Jr. and her. Carlos really wanted it to happen. He wanted to lend his support. It's a situation none of us can really, very few of us can really relate to. Not me personally, clearly, but there's been a couple officers in that situation. And it was nice that his first thought was, what can I do for a fellow officer to pay back all the support that he got? He's just an amazing guy. I know Officer Ballesteros greatly appreciated that video chat and that moral support. But again, if you can make the hospital release, that'd be great. We want to get a big turnout for that to send her home with some love and support. I could tell you, this nonsense of police shootings, it's probably sadly got no end in sight, but we certainly can do our best to try and stem the tide and try and turn the tide a little bit ourselves. And the best way to do that is to make sure you register to vote and make sure you cast a ballot for the June 28th primary. The politicians in large part created this climate of the police are the problem with society. It is incumbent upon each and every one of us and our family members to send a message back. Bullshit. No, we are not. And you are not going to get reelected. We are coming in full force. We are going to be a force to be reckoned with in this election and every election going forward. Enough is enough. If we do not stand up for each other at this point, we are lost. And they are just going to laugh in our face. It is not time to, put the cruise control on. It's time to put the pedal to the metal and go full force at these politicians and send strong messages that no longer will the FOP and the police force just be in the back seat of a car. We are literally going to be driving the car from now on. Make sure you register and vote this election. We have 2 officers running for election. I could tell you, when it comes to the PAC fund, sadly, there's dissension in every organization, whether it's a political party, a union, or whatever the case may be. And regrettably, there is a handful of members who are just hell-bent on returning to power at the FOP, and they will tank anything it needs to be tanked in order to try and regain control. And if that means trying to tank the new direction that we're taking the Political Action Committee, along with elections and candidate recruitment, they do not care. They will literally be the mayor of ashes, so to speak, just to be back in charge. They do not care. So what I'm telling you this for is you will be getting a postcard in your mailbox in the next couple days. It will be informing you of a vote for the dues increase, which was very clearly reiterated in many different forums, whether it was these videos, the FOP newsletter, at general membership meetings, you name it, it's been discussed over and over and over again. The board of directors voted February 9th to increase dues by $10 per member per check, per active member. Unfortunately, some people are now, even though it was approved at the general membership meeting in the president's report by the members on the floor, they want to play this technicality game. And rather than make this a long, drawn-out, nonsensical process, the decision was made that we're just going to have a members-only, active members-only vote. That's who the dues increase affected. So bring your current active police ID. The general membership meeting is at noon, but the special vote will be at 10 a.m. We will be checking IDs. Only active members will be allowed to come in and cast a vote for the dues increase. We are asking for your support on this measure. We cannot turn back. If we do not understand the dynamic in front of us right now about politics and the climate created by these politicians and the message we need to send, and the only way to send those messages is with dollars. We are lacking far behind, or were until this new endeavor we cast off on, with respect from politicians. We never really had a PAC fund. We really never had a PAC director. We never had candidate recruitment. We have all of that now. If we turn back now, they're only going to be more emboldened to come after us more than ever. So again, there is sad reality that there will be some members trying to recruit no votes for that dues increase. We are asking as many members who support what we're trying to do to show up at 10 a.m. and cast your yes vote. That's going to be an up or down vote. It's going to be that simple, and we'll see where it goes from there. I will tell you, on our website and also on the Facebook page is this flyer with the QR code here. There's an email address for the State's Attorney's Victims Advocate Office, Jill Thornton. You can just send directly an email to her and fill out a form about an opposition of clemency for Hector Delgado, who killed Brian Strouse June 30th, 2001. Hector was resentenced from a life sentence thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court, who said juveniles cannot be given life sentences and deferred it back to the individual states. Our Illinois Supreme Court, and this is all tied together, I hope you understand this. The Illinois Supreme Court a couple years ago said that the max sentence for a juvenile offender can be 40 years. So that means whether it's an officer, a group of kids in a school, doesn't matter. If the offender is a juvenile, the most they can get is a 40-year sentence. It's supposed to be a day-for-day sentence. 40 years is 40 years, a true 40 years. So he wasn't eligible for parole, so now he's playing this game of clemency, and he's petitioning the governor for clemency during an election year. How fitting. Regrettably, he's got some aldermanic support. Everybody knows the communist alderman Cicho Lopez in Little Village is supporting this clemency petition. That is what we're up against. When I tell you they hate us, it's not just rhetoric. It's the truth. Sitting aldermen are literally fighting for a cop killer to be released. He's got 19 years to go, and we're going to do everything we can with your help to make sure that piece of garbage spends every one of those 19 years in prison. Wish it was more, but unfortunately, the climate we're in, that's the best we can do. But when I talked about the Illinois Supreme Court, there's 2 seats up right now, this election cycle. Again, the Democrats, and this isn't a Republican-Democrat because we've supported Democrats just like we have Republicans in this election cycle specifically. But right now, as currently structured, the Illinois Supreme Court has been governed by Democratic rule for over 50 years. If you do not realize the dynamic that has caused as far as right and wrong and literally responsibility and punishment, all of these decisions end up at the Illinois Supreme Court, and they make these rulings. And that's the guidelines we're stuck with. And we can see the society that we've ended up with, in part because of that Democratic rule for so long. I think it's time to send a message to the Illinois Supreme Court too. Enough is enough. I hope law enforcement and all people who back, law enforcement in general will take a serious look at those Illinois Supreme Court races and send a message on our behalf. Lastly, I will tell you there's a football game this afternoon at St. Rita High School at 3 p.m. The Chicago Enforcers will be taking on the Firefighters. We expect a triumphant blue victory later this afternoon. If you're looking for a little distraction and bring out the family, it should be a good turnout. The weather's going to be pretty decent. I'll see you there. And until more updates, if something comes up, I'll let you know. But stay tuned for Officer Ballesteros' release information later. Thank you.